It is. I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you. Continue.
Hey, it is 7:20 on the East Coast. Dave Glovin, Jenn, Woodruff, Boogie with the Bull, Uncensored, Thursday night live. That ring means that we are live. And if you're near Facebook, go to the Dave Glovin profile and you can be in the live chat. And if you're not near Facebook, go to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and you can be near a live chat. And what's happening today, Jenn?
Well, I was, I did a thing. I made the shirt, and I'll give you a link to it. I was just really obsessed with these posts that the VP or projected VP, he's not even the VP yet. So I'm like, why is he signing legislation? Kamala did it. She's the VP, isn't she? I think
Well,
she is.
he's a governor, so if it's
Oh,
if it's stuff related to Minnesota, he's the governor of Minnesota, so he could be signing Minnesota legislation that maybe he's planning on bringing with him to wherever he may be living.
right. Well, this
I just think I find it entertaining that the election hasn't even happened yet.
help yourself, buddy. Yeah.
And,
Well,
and you're already assuming that you're going to get elected. It doesn't necessarily mean that he won't, but you're already assuming that you've been sworn in and going to treat it and treat it like you are. And I wonder what he's going to do on November 6th when he finds out he wasn't elected.
cry, go home and cry. I can't stand this. But anyways, he signed this bill, and I can't help but think of that Schoolhouse Rock where they show this little bill and he's sitting on the steps and he's like all depressed because he's only a bill. But I love that because you read it and it's scary and it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, wait, calm down. It's just a bill. Well, anyways, he signed this bill that if parents think that their kindergartner is when their kindergartner decides that they want to transition or start taking hormones, that they're mixed up, they're really trapped in someone else's body, that the state or the school can trump there's a trigger word, they can trump the parents' rights and they can say, no, this is what the child wants. And I'm like, wow. So I made this shirt and it says strong like a mother. And it doesn't have a bad word on it. But when my girls saw it, they were like, Mom, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, this is what we need to do is call the parents to responsibility and be strong like a mother. And I was hoping that Michael Anthony would come on tonight because he said from the beginning, this is up to the ladies. You are the ones. I don't know if he said mothers, but he did say this is up to the ladies. You are the ones that they're trying to erase. They are. And we saw that with the Supreme Court Justice, that Ketanji Brown.
Yep.
And they're like, can you define a female? And she says, well, I'm not a biologist. I was like, you dummy, you had 2 kids. I think you could figure it out. But no, she was pandering to the LGBTQ agenda. And so this is just terrible what they're trying to do. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm trying to post a link to the shirt
I am made. One of those. I am one of those Republicans that I don't think is going to sit by and listen to any more people in Washington, D.C. tell me that any parent who decides to go to a school board and discuss anything that they are not happy with, a domestic terrorist. And I think I would actually like to see if the Republicans keep the House and take back the Senate, that we prosecute the true domestic terrorists, the people that brought that decision to the Department of Education. And as other people would say, I could actually support closing the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. and sending it back to the states. Now, that's just me. I can't tell anybody else how you want to feel about it. But, and if you homeschool, and I've been saying that, you may be able to keep your local school taxes from going to the local school board, and I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I hope that policy changes and that the money that you would use to homeschool your children, provided you're using an appropriate
accredited curriculum. Yeah, sorry. I know it's school choice. That's good. That makes sense.
Let me see if I can do this. I'm not 100% sure it will let me do this. Oh, actually, it did let me do it. It let me load the website so I can look at it while we're going. I don't know. You have to send it to me, and then I can add a camera for it. But I at least have it. It's cookiecrumbs.com. COOKIECRUM no BS, cookiecrumbs.com.
It's actually a Printify link.
Okay,
that's
it's
just
a Printify link so that they can see the shirt. Okay,
right.
So
yeah.
I will make sure that gets posted in the groups. Jen will make sure it gets posted in the groups. We have, 100,000 new conservative patriot Facebook groups. Every time I turn around, we've added another one. We now have Patriot Force, which has just under 400 members and 3,840 invited people.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so if all of you that hear this or see this, every time you go in to look at the group for your week of preview mode, immediately take your invitation and join us at the table. We could have, 4 or 5 million people in that group overnight. Anyway, but yeah, it's 80 some odd days before the election. Actually, it might even be in the upper 70s now before the election. And it's just time, people. Just, you know what's going on. You know what you think is going on. And you have to vote from the heart and how you feel. And I have said these last few days, I don't care if you're a registered Democrat. I don't care if you're a registered Republican. I don't care if you're a registered American neo-Nazi or whatever party you want to be. The important thing is that on November 5th, you go to wherever you're supposed to vote and you vote. If early voting has started in your state and you're not going to be able to get to the poll on November 5th, go vote. Go do it. If you are like me and haven't been notified when I can request my absentee ballot, because with dementia and pre-Parkinson's, I can't always get to the poll, and I will make sure I get a ballot sent to me in time to use it, and then make sure I return it to wherever it goes. The important thing is that you vote. Don't vote like Democrats. Don't vote and vote often. Just vote. One vote, one person. Don't ask any of your relatives to vote. The only thing I miss in this election is my father, before he passed away, said he did not believe that he would vote for Donald Trump for re-election. So that's the only thing I miss, is that my father won't be here with me to see how he would have voted. I'm just curious. He may not have even voted, and I probably would have given him a pass if he didn't, because the man was in stage 4 metastasized cancer. So he may not have wanted to get out of bed and do it. And at that point in your life, I probably would have said, you have to do what you feel up to doing. But go vote, get registered to vote. That's the important thing. Michael Anthony is with us from Studio 10 Broadcasting and 10 O'Clock Talks. I've been joking with Michael on one thing, that because our Monday and Wednesday AM broadcast is 10 a.m., that maybe we should make a part of 10 O'Clock Talks. But good evening, Mr. Anthony. How's the weather up there in Pittsburgh, PA?
Fair. Waiting on Debbie.
Yeah,
waiting on Debbie. They say it's going to hit us a little bit. I really don't know what that result will be like. Every day we're in a blanket of white in the skies. Not very much natural blue. So yesterday was a lot of heavy winds and turbulences. The day before was kind of the same. It's almost like they're setting us up for fall, saying, hey, here it comes. I already been using the leaf blower, but that was because of a little bit of the drought, and then we got soaking rain. Fruit trees don't know what to do. Gardens don't know what to do. I try talking to my little vegetable people because, I want them to stay okay. But, it's not been good as far as a productively beautiful summer here in Pittsburgh in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, with that coming, Debbie's coming. What's going to come from it, I don't know. I'm hearing like 14-mile-an-hour winds coming in about 2 a.m. upcoming morning, and staying with us till they're saying noon. But again, every forecast on every different source of phones and computer comes up with a different analogy of what the weather's going to be for the day.
They do. And that is always one of my favorite conversations with Donna. And I'll say when I know bad weather is coming, that, what's the likelihood that they're just going to predict the end of the earth, Armageddon weather, all this and all that, and all that happens is absolutely nothing. They just got us all to stay at home and camp out in front of our TV sets and hoping that it wasn't bad. I don't know how the weather is normally in Orlando when you're here in Florida this time of year, but we were 97 degrees outside, feeling like 109 degrees outside. And I got to tell you, in here in our room, it actually felt like it was probably closer to 109 degrees.
Wow.
I can only tell you, Pittsburgh's been having the same temperatures, not quite as much humidity, because you are closer to the water than we are here. But we're experiencing the same type of temperatures, 91, 94, 95. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they reach just a little bit abnormally higher. But how far do you want to go down a rabbit hole? I'll throw something in here, interject. It makes for great conversation, but it also with some speculation. So if we look into what we think we know, and we look into some of the technologies that we have, like Project Looking Glass, where the claim is that we can look semi into the future, as well as some people now who come forth saying that they are actually time travelers. And I'm not saying that they're real or that they exist. I'm saying people are representing these facts. But when we get to about 2050 to 2060, they're saying, I don't see the calculation being factually true. They're saying we will be 15 degrees above normal throughout the United States in every state. Now, maybe that's true. Now, here's where it gets really suspiciously interesting. You know how we have the alleged crafts that can go from water to air and air to water. Well, I mean, there are some things coming out now saying that this other entity of life that visits with us that comes through the dimension. Not, so it's interplanetary, not outer planetary, like crossing the universe. But they come here, and we are trying to protect ourselves from what they are doing, because they send these droids in, these biological entities that they have created. And if they have created them, and we look at what they are, it's quite suspicious that they have intelligence beyond anything we can fathom to be able to create a life form as we know that they are, as in some cases have been basically described to us. And we're heating our planet up, in essence, to help the situations because they can't come here to have quality of life unless it's cold, dark, and damp. So our government has now put up a weaponry system of this war that we're, and you know what? Maybe that makes sense because when I do What's in the Skies and we tried to do some filming on it, we never have a clear night to see anything in the skies anymore. They're always cloaked with this mystical white appearance that we get when they're up there in the drones. But wouldn't that be something? I mean, it's just kind of odd, and I thought I'd throw that in just because people like conspiracy.
Didn't you long time ago say that maybe they've already built the dome over us, and what we actually see when we look up really isn't the sky? I don't know how they explain getting any rockets that they claim to fire outside of the Earth, but are we living inside a dome that they control what we actually see in the sky? Or that the sky actually isn't real?
Well, I mean, everything in life we find out has some type of scenario of divide to it. But that was Hillary Clinton that said, we've tried to crack the dome, but we haven't had luck. But eventually someone's going to do it. And I feel really close that that's going to happen. It's actually posted in America Disclosing Uncensored, where she made comments like that. Does she talk ufology? I have a couple of pictures of her with Mr. Rothschild holding a book on UFOs right in her hand in front of him. Kind of correlates a scenario of a possibility, I guess, you know, that they may have had some type of conversation. Her holding that book, maybe he in fact handed it to her. I don't know. But if we go back to the early days of what was going on in America, and this is where politics will come into it also, you have the Trilateral Commission. Are you guys familiar with that?
No. Who are the three? Go ahead.
The Trilateral Commission, the Bilderbergers, and the United Nations. Okay. These three organizations of entities that were superficially made up by powers and elites, always met in the dark under military protection. When you went in, you couldn't leave. We've had Clinton, president, there as one party. I know for a fact that we have had a few other presidents that went there. Some of them familiar with the scenarios of ufology, some that were not. But, you know, these things that we're now experiencing are the things that were going on in 1915 that the Trilateral was putting together. And I'm just saying, I guess anything could be possible. How do you narrate to all of this when it's just a shit pile of information where there's commonalities between everything and an argument that's productive on either side? It just takes us back in that circle. Circle back was not for any particular reason, just because Peppermint Patty came up with it or somebody having fun did it. But the Circle Back project's there. But these are the type of things that were going on that were part of the deep state secrecies. So who are they? What are they? And how advanced are we? And, you know, again, are they protecting the Earth? I don't know. And I don't know if this is where the way you wanted the show to go. But throwing this out there, I think, keeps a little bit of intelligence for us to just say, hey, we got to stay open to everything and anything. And I know for a fact that I've experienced a couple of things in my life over my head that made me go down this rabbit hole. I know what I saw was a physical component of something. It was intelligent. It corresponded with me. It let me know I was there when I let it know, you know, it was there and so forth. So I don't know, but I can tell you this much. There's a lot of secrecy. We all understand that without a doubt. And we got a lot of questions with little next to no answers. And that's where they want to keep us, in that state of confusion on whatever it is that they're doing. You know, same when you talk about the woketress and her riddles. She's actually reaching out, telling people certain things when she talks like that. This is not because she's an idiot. She's not. And you and I talked about this earlier in the week. I mean, she's very bright. She truly is very bright. But the point is, they have messages for everybody, and they are setting something up on a different platform of the stage. And I think the reason that she's done that was to keep strength somewhere to so they can prevail, of course, throughout the election and whatnot. But we just have to stay aware and try to understand everything. We don't have to agree with it. We see the lies, we see the corruption and disruption, and here we are fighting the battle. And again, you can only say we need every man, woman, and child to get us through this, because it'll probably take that. The nice part about this seems to be, where was I going? That phone really triggered my mind there.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, just shut it off. You do this every show.
No, it's my wife.
Okay, but you're not the only one with dementia. I got to tell you, I'm feeling my own bad insecurities of points.
I am starting to believe. I mean, we could do lots of shows about dementia. We can harp on Joe as being the dementia in chief, as far as I'm concerned. But I am starting to believe more and more and more and more that I may just be further down a path than the rest of you have yet to embrace, courtesy of the Democrats that currently rule us. But I'll leave it. I'll leave my words at that.
Well, I'll try to do completion here. I think I have rejarred my memory. No, I do. I think for a minute. So anyway, what do we got going here that they're worried about? The fact is now we're going to have ballot counters in every poll. 500 attorneys being appointed for locations to be present, police guards to be present. This is all under how Trump's campaign is working, where he's investing the money to protect the integrities. So a lot of eyes will be watching things. As I said, I used to say, and I didn't think of that. I'm glad that he did, and that his team did. I said, we need to go there, have pig roast, hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever. You go vote, you don't leave. You wait there. You show your presence. You show the world, and you show everybody in America that we are the stronger of the parties, and we won. We can't let this slide by again, because they'll just destroy us. They'll destroy our life. We'll have no more quality. And they will work on reductions of everything. Up near where Donald Trump took that shot in his ear, and we're not talking about a vaccination shot. You know the one I'm talking about, the one that was heard around the world that everybody talked about again. They are now, our store suppliers have nothing in them. The proteins are gone. They're saying, well, it started with the Kohler, and then all the Kohlers went on. No, there's no product at all in the store, except for like clothes, garden goods. All that's full to full capacity. But if you go in there to get bread, if you go in there to get milk, butter, cheese, bacon, there is nothing in the Walmart store that is just minutes from there. And I think that was a direct attack, because they do know that the majority comes out of Armstrong County, Butler, PA, where that event took place. And this is like a punishment back in their face. So it's pretty weird. And then you might want to even ask yourself a little further. A brilliant young girl did a TikTok thing, but I knew who was there, because I had, somebody sent me invite tickets, and CNN was there. They never show up for nothing Trump does. So to me, were they waiting for the fatal shot? Were they there only for that moment? Because I bring that up because of what you wrote to me a little earlier tonight about a post that was where somebody was saying it was a direct hoax. I don't know if it was. I don't know if any of us will ever know. But I do know that the same people that were within the security of the SS are now guarding Vance. I'm a little worried about that in ways. And the other thing that I worry about is, why isn't the other team on the other side bringing in the same type of people that Donald Trump is? Why are they only going with black suit, black tie men, when Trump's utilizing everybody, whether they're transgender, female, male, it doesn't matter to them. So, we could go down rabbit holes all night and talk about things like that. I don't know where you guys want to go. I'm going to turn this over to the great Jenn.
Turn it over to Jenn. What do you think, Jenn? Oh, did we lose Jenn's audio?
I don't know. I
No.
hope not.
No.
I'm back. There were people behind me, and I was like,
Okay.
how do I yell at them without yelling into my mic? Anyhow, I'm kidding. I didn't yell at them. I was going to ask you, Michael, what do you think that whole, I don't know if it was a year or two ago when Jeff Bezos was going to go, he went up into space and everyone's so excited. And we're like, look at him. He took a rocket, he went straight up. And it was like, what, 20 seconds? And he came right back down. And the kids were like,
Yeah.
wow,
The big,
we
the big
stopped.
experiment. Yeah. I don't
Do
think
you
they
think,
got anywhere. I think they got up into the upper stratosphere. That's all I think they did. I think they wanted to get up to the halo, where you look at the Down syndrome picture, how the Earth has the roundness to it. I don't think that they did anything that actually proves that they went into space, even though they were selling tickets for crazy money. But were they? We're force fed so
wow.
much stuff. I don't know. I can't get Elon Musk on the phone. I would love to. Joe won't give me his contact information. Sometimes he won't even, acknowledge me. I get that. They're in a upper type of stature. They're rich, they're
Right.
wealthy, and they're always going to be. But they forget about the little guys who are trying to be, uh, one that can help with the information as well, I guess you could say. But I don't know. What are we watching? In a way, it seems like a circus. You have rockets shaped like penises. Excuse me, Jen, but it's true. I mean, what in life isn't like that some way? I mean, there's all these symbolisms and symbols. Great guy to listen to find out and do research. That did a lot of research for all of us. Jordan, the great Jordan Maxwell, he would be the guy to actually take direct lessons from. He's no longer with us, but he's left a legacy of work. And it's all there. It explains so much in great detail. And everybody's utilizing what he did to make it their own now, too. So there's another part of the confusion. Well, he said this, but I'll add an and or a button to it, and I'll make it mine. And then they put it into a book, and they're going to become a famous author. And all they're doing is actually taking from one to bring it to another, without actually doing a lot of. And I'm not saying all do it, but it is happening. So we're in a war amongst wars of different types of people doing different things. I don't know how we're going to actually manage to get through this and be able to talk to each other at the end of it, because it's just vicious.
Right. I love what you said. It was a long time ago. It was at the beginning of all this. I don't remember when I started doing broadcasts, but way back then you said this is up to the women. The girls are going to have to come together because they are trying to erase you. And I think it was right before Kataji Jackson, I don't know, Benji Brown Jackson, the Supreme Court justice that was
Mm-hmm.
asked, can you define a woman? And she said, I'm not a biologist. I don't think I can. And I'm thinking, you idiot. You had 2 kids. Get a clue. But anyhow, she was pandering, obviously, to the LGBTQ community and whatever they're doing and however many genders they think we have. But I did this thing. I made a t-shirt. I was so frustrated. And I posted something today to the groups that says, I do not co-parent with the government because they want to take over our parental rights if we will not allow our children to get a sex change or gender affirmation when they're in like kindergarten. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, let them
Yeah.
grow. So I made this shirt. I put the link somewhere. I don't know where it is, Dave, but it says strong like a mother because that's what we have to be. We have to stand up and not look like these wimpy little people that just have kids. And if we can't handle the kids because we don't have enough money or don't have a husband, well, we'll just have an abortion because I swear that's what she thinks she's going to do. Kamala thinks she's going to win this election by selling abortion to everyone as the buffoon is going to like say that they're going to have to take over our parental rights if we won't let our children transgender. And I'm like, this is terrible. So I said, the moms have. Oh, I'll shut up. I have to stand up. It's frustrating.
You don't have to be quiet. That's
I don't let any.
It's a valid point. I mean, I don't believe that the government has a right to go to your 4, 5, 6-year-old child and say, this is what you want to do.
Right.
Because at that age, none of us knew what we wanted to do.
I wanted to fly. I wanted to be Wonder Woman. I used to put these things on my forehead and wrist. And I was like, shoot me, with my brother. It was stupid. I'm like, you can't do that. It's so crazy. But
I could visualize you doing that on a skateboard or something, standing straight up and your hair flowing back and your little thing. I could visualize that.
Shoot me now.
And I could get anybody could have did it, but why didn't they pick you? Who knows? I mean, life is as it is. We follow the instructions every day. We don't know what they're going to be. We just make good with what comes to us and, retaliate if necessary. Pretty mind blowing, but you're right. If she thinks she's going to end it to win it on that, she's sadly mistaken. And, Trump left it up to the states. They are using trickery and reverse narratives and, on every situation that they feel that they need to fight him on. And, he still stands much stronger than they do in his delivery and with what he has in mind for us. And we're going to need somebody that's going to be able to definitely take the rule of thumb into place and start making things happen. And I hope there is a huge crushing taxation cut for the American people, and that he penalizes all these criminal companies that are out there that have caused us all harm, the pharmaceuticals and the BlackRock, State Street, and more. And by the way, bringing that up, Dave, you asked me for something. Jenn, give me 1 second on this, because I was looking into this and we were talking about Maui. It came up. So I did look into it. I talked to a very credible person who I trust that was really deep into this, much deeper than I was. And what I found out was, in some directions, go look here, go look there. So I did. We have a new jump in. Speaking of money, people, Alexander Baldwin. They own 65,000 acres now in Maui. Now, Hawaii, the state itself, owns like 155, and the government owns 33,000. Now, who is behind Alexander Baldwin? That is the big balloon pop, where when that once happened to President Reagan, he said, "You miss me." True story. So it's State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock, who are all invested into Alexander Baldwin. Those are the land grabbers, which then diversifies, because you have Oprah, you have Zuckerberg, you have other small narrations of other acreages, but it's very limited after what they have land grabbed on this, because whatever their plan is going to be, I don't know. But I just wanted to clarify to you, Dave, on the acreage, who had it, who's behind it, where the money came from, and what they're doing. I don't know yet. What they're doing, I don't know yet, but they have purpose for why they're doing it. Just like every fire, every flood, every hurricane, that it is now this new part of our norm of a life and death destruction parallel of a paradigm that we are in.
Wow.
They're gonna, I don't know. It just, it's like you said, Michael, I guess you got to wake up each morning. You got to read the program before you get out of bed and make sure you understand what they think you're supposed to be doing or what they expect you to do. I did want to say good evening to Eric Leon Barton from Central Valley, California. Always a pleasure to have you watching, Eric. One of these days we got to get you on. We are live on Facebook on my profile and in 8 million Facebook groups. as well as if you're watching and you like the broadcast, give it a thumbs up and share it on Facebook. Go to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and share it off of Facebook. We're live on Wimkin. It never loads right, but tap the link. It'll bring you over, and you can use the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel live chat if you're watching over on Wimkin. And on that note, we're just having a great time. 7:54 on Thursday evening.
Let me ask you two guys a question. What did you think about the White House reacting to the squad on Miss Cori Bush's outburst and being ousted?
Oh my gosh. Has anyone ever done that before? That was ridiculous. She went on her own soapbox. And what was she trying to rally? What was she doing? What do you think? What was her point?
I think it was like a Maxine Waters all over again. You know, rev up America for purpose of, you know, whatever it takes to get through this election strong for everybody. You know, she's not on our team. She's on the squad's team. And to see the White House give retaliations in ways towards, I mean, basically they were all scolded. That's how I got it from people that we trusted are up in Washington, like the Marjorie Taylor Greens that don't carry such a big name, but how the word and the vibe was going around that there was a lot of screaming and shouting. I don't know how Jean-Pierre got through it. I didn't pay attention to that. That's why I wanted to bring it up. But yeah, I mean, think about what we went through. It's the same as, you know, the woketress's pick. She picks a guy who's arrested for DUI, speeding, failing on going to Iraq. Nothing different than Clinton didn't do by running from the war, mind you. But, you know, it's all a part of the extremism that they are. You know, they truly are. And, you know, I'm sure the information is being sidelined from Obama. You might at this point just say Obama had his third term, you know. But right. Nevertheless, these people are the ones that performed the direction. Not really Joe. Joe just was the master of puppets. In ways, you know, not reflecting to the Metallica scenario or the music, but
right.
It was almost like they knew. But you know, when you look at music, you look at Hollywood, you look at movies. I mean, so much has been laid out, and so much criminality is laid out, and judgment, and people are going to have to stay strong to get through it. But you know, anyway, I'll let you guys take it instead of hogging the microphone.
Let me take it for a second. Eric Leon Barton commented, Michael Anthony, I can't find your page. Did you block me? I was going to jump in and say, I don't think you blocked anybody, Michael. I know you sent me a new friend request earlier today, and I did contact you, and you did say it was you. It wasn't anybody funny. So if you get a chance, Michael, send Eric Leon Barton a friend request, and everybody will be happy because we'll be able to watch everybody everywhere. And if it's more than that, then I'm going to put my foot back in my mouth.
Send her stuff.
Over to Jen. No, go ahead, Mike.
It's crazy, but it's part, I think, of what their attack is on us as citizen journalists, or us, you know, let's just say we're the low-grade podcasters. But are we so low-grade? I don't think so. I think I brought a lot of good information to America. I think we all have put effort into that, and we all deserve a little better. But, you know, Facebook is a huge part of a dating pool, you know, of a scenario of people come here, they vent, but at the same time, they leave, they find the mate, they're gone. You know, I find that to be prevalent and true. I mean, I really do. But, yeah, they are discarding us, and I think I was hacked once. Maybe it happened during that period.
What?
Oh, he just froze. They hacked him again.
You said the word hacked. Did we lose you, Michael, because you said the word hacked?
Was scary. Yeah. What the heck?
But he was a rock star about it, and I want to say.
They're blocking Mr. Anthony as we
was going.
They're playing games with his audio as we speak. Eric, like I said, I don't It could be the storms over Michael as well. I don't believe that it's anything negative among people on Facebook. Like I said, I know I got a new friend request from Michael today. We were in a conversation talking, and I asked him if he in fact sent it to me, and he did. So if you don't see it today, remind me, and I'll pressure Michael first thing tomorrow morning when.
No, don't pressure me.
Well, okay. I'll just remind him until he tells me to shut up. And,
I just did. No, but I will. I'll look at. I'll look.
All right, Eric. We did. He said he did. I'm going to take him at his word.
For us, he's a patriot. I don't crush people like that. I don't. I just don't do it.
I know you don't.
But I hate energy vampires. I told you that, and we have energy vampires out there. They have one way of thinking. They have one way of thought. It's about them. They tell us they're patriots, but they're energy vampires. They have other ulterior motives while they're on, without a doubt, 100%. And if you see me separated from some people, that could be exactly why I'm determining them as being energy vampires. We don't need that. We need positivity. We need focus. We need people like Jenn. We need people like the Bull. We need people that are going to be out there and try to do the best to the last moment where they say you're gone and we can't do nothing about it. And know that we did our best for everybody. After that, it's going to be on them, without a doubt. But in the meantime, as the word can be shared out everywhere, please share to your groups and friends. We need to stick together, stand by each other, because the world's falling apart. And I really think that we're going to have a level playing field after the election. I think Trump's going to find a narrative of something that's going to work for everybody. We were there once. We don't need nothing shoved down our face. There's going to probably have to be some rules put in place. He'll be judged again. He'll be attacked again. It's not going to be an easy task, but I think he can level the playing field to get us through 4 years, and hopefully Vance can take over for the next 8. We need to. He needs to be seasoned. He needs to be groomed. He needs to be handled properly. He needs the introductions. He needs to be introduced to the world leaders to know how they are, how they think, and how they respect power of the United States. Because we are that power, and we're putting it in their hands to use it.
Awesome. Didn't you love the way, I felt like he was trolling, but it was awesome. Following Kamala till his plane landed on the same tarmac that hers did today. He was just following her and trying to get her to answer questions. She will not answer any questions. She's had no press conferences. No one knows what she's really doing, just the bits and pieces we get from her rallies. No, she doesn't answer questions. But I thought it was awesome how he was following her, saying the same thing. Talk to her, ask questions.
She's a piece of work. I mean, she just became the nominee, or at least we're told she became their nominee, because again, they don't have to admit to us anything that happened on that call. We don't know. For all we know, George Soros walked in with $80 billion and paid off each delegate.
Right.
To vote for her. But, you know, she's already following in Joe's footsteps. I'm not going to debate him. You know, or I only agreed, I agreed to these 3 days. I don't agree to Fox. I don't agree to this one. I don't agree to that one. You know what? Kamala, you've got to step up. You don't have a right as the Democrat presidential candidate to tell America where you're going to go on and debate President Trump or anyone else. You know, you want to be the president of the United States, you're going to find yourself at one time or another on every single media outlet there is, not only here, but around the world. And you're going to get asked the tough questions. And if you can't handle the tough questions because they're not going to give them to you in advance or give you your answers in advance, why are you running? Well, and on that, I'll pass the mic back to you guys.
Okay. I'll just interject a little bit. It's going to be Media Mockingbird. Okay. It's going to be a political commercialized war. Okay. A psyop. That's how they can defend themselves. It's going to be, take my word for it, not his. It's going to be Trump saying, take my word for it, it's not his. That's where the demeaning will come in. That's where the war will start, and it already has. She's very intelligent in her speaking there. Of course, they could have CGI'd anything. They could have created anything. She could have studied from papers. But again, I'm telling you, this woman is very highly, highly intelligent. It's not a joke. She's well educated. She was well handled and groomed for the positions that we didn't see coming. Call her the Black Swan, even though it doesn't exist. She's Indian and Hindu, which, by the way, how do you pronounce her name? Kamala? Kamala is a Hindu goddess of the devil. Believe it or not. I mean, is that coincidence? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it was all a narration.
Right. I don't know how you pronounce it, if it's Camilla or Kamala.
I thought it was Kamala.
Most people I know say Kamala or say Kamala, something closer to what how you would pronounce Pamela.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Miss Camelot. Well, anyway, the Miss Camelot, she's going to be in this war, and that's where she's going to be strong.
I'm sorry, but Jen's eyes just bounced off of her camera there.
Hey, do you think that this is not all on purpose? If people aren't thinking in the same way in the adjectives that I speak, you damn well, because this is this is why they want your children. This is why they want pedophiles protected, because they didn't know any better. They were born this way. It wasn't intentional. We must protect them, so it's okay. I mean, do you remember all that? How much of what we forgot of what happened in 4 years? I can dictate to you 1,000 of them, probably pretty close off to the top of my head right now, that would make your head spin, of every scenario of implant that happened. The only thing I would disagree with you, Dave, on is George Soros would not be able to come in, but his son would. Everything's been grandfathered. Yeah.
Right.
His corporate.
From what we are led to believe, his son is running the Soros organizations and charitable trusts, and George is probably. Well, you and I had a conversation the other day. I said, I wonder if all these people are either underground. What is left is buried underground somewhere at Gitmo, or they're just so far away from the rest of the world at Gitmo, we'll never hear from them again. But I don't expect it. Well, actually, what I might expect is that when that call took place, if George wanted to do something, George did something on that call, said something on that call to all of those people. And, but like I said, we're never going to be able to see the call or see what took place on the call. We have to believe what they tell us. And
you just analyze it the best you can. Everybody will come to their own conclusion.
Yeah. I guess the conclusion I want to come to is just being able to verify that they're not just ramming her down America's throat as the Democrats' nominee because Biden went over to cuckoo's nest and he can't run.
They did exactly just that, though.
It's just getting to be. I want to see her debate him for no other reason than to watch her mouth hit the floor every time he asks her a question, because he's not a stupid person. He's a smart man. She's not a stupid person. She's a smart, well-educated lady. They both will be able to play each other.
Right. It'll be good.
Throughout that debate. It's not going to be like when Trump was running for the Republican nomination in 2015, and he said, there's so many people on the stage with me, I don't have to say anything because these other 14 people are going to prove why you need to vote for me. And that's what he did. She, on the other hand, I keep coming back to it. Yeah, she was an attorney general in California many moons ago. She befriended Willie Brown, who was a very influential Democrat in California back then, and who probably grew her to become vice president and maybe even president someday. But my question is, what did she do in her first and only term in the United States Senate that groomed her for this position, other than her hatred for the man who got her elected vice president? What did she do?
Arrested over 2,000 black men and kept for marijuana charges, and then she kept them too long in prison so she could use them for free labor to
Or,
do,
or
on a chain gang.
states had to pay them when the charges were declared bogus for the 20 or 30 years hypothetically these people were in prison. And she had that charity, that foundation, I don't know whose it is, that paid the bails and helped these people get out and reestablish. I mean, it's just...
You talking about the ones that burnt down the cities?
Yeah.
Well, that was through GoFundMe, and that was through Maxine and Pelosi and Nancy saying, stand up, come out and fight. They all had their hands of intervention on that to free these people. This is why I'm telling you, when she talks in riddles, she's directing to them. And she has protected them. None of them are serving time, or J6ers are, but that's about to change. Because a precedent was passed by a judge that is going to give a full pardon and release. There'll be lawsuits flying everywhere in Washington, D.C., and every one of them are going to have to be released. And it's going to take some paperwork and a little bit of time, but on this precedent that was established by this judge, it's going to change everything that has happened. So I wish freedom to them. I hope it comes sooner than later. But as we know how the system works, it doesn't work. And it's probably going to take a minute or two, and it's going to take some very nasty letters and court orders from judges and threatening scenarios of jail time if they don't get on board to do it and get it done. So we have some positives in many ways of many things, but these are the criminals, and we watched them all speak to us through the times. We watch who they kneeled to. George Floyd was more important than any other American in the world. Ukraine's more important. Narrative of war. Who do we buy our oil from right now? For the most part, if we need more oil, we buy from Russia. Who followed us into the east right now and surrounded us? Russia, 300 naval ships. It's true. I mean, Putin is just sitting there calmly saying, I got this. He's not harming anybody. He's protecting. He's going after the criminality of the people, like of these tribunal and Bilderbergers that they are, and Khazarian mafias, the richest of the rich in the world that we couldn't even comprehend the wealth that they have. They can all give us something, and it wouldn't dent them. It wouldn't dent them in any way, shape, or form. That's why I say I hope for super fast taxation cuts across the board on American people, selling their homes, selling other properties, and lifting the rental securities that they want to put in place to not stimulate the economy in a better way, but to kill the economy for the people who built America. It's all about remove the middle class to give it to the new class. The new class are the ones that have come up through the system who were educated. When we looked at these people that were standing in the middle of streets rioting, and all you heard them was scream. This was mind control programs, projects being done on them, like a Montauk all over again. If you guys are familiar with Montauk and what those children went through, we have locations all over the world with missing children. Where did they go? Or they had to deal with this, they had to deal with that, and they're never found. We heard about human slavery. We heard about blood rituals. We heard about satanic. Well, satanic, it was admitted in 1717 by the Masons when they come out as a solidarity to announce who they were and what they stood for. When the British were coming, like we talked about this the other day, we were all losing our butts over here. They were putting a fire under us in a war in America. The British comes in and they're basically just wiping us out. We yelled out to the French, and the French immediately says, we helped you. We want part of America. There's the Statue of Liberty. And, what is the Statue of Liberty? What does it pertain to? I've told people this before. Zeus, the Olympic torch. That's why we have to have Olympics every year. It has to give homage back to the old world, the one that they want to come back, where nobody was under rule and thumb of sexuality. And they promote this. You have to understand how to connect the dots through that. You feeling this, Jen? This is really how it's been working and why they're doing us with this strategy. And that's why Trump always attacks them on that form of platform. And it goes even much, much deeper. It really does. But I got a bunch of military helicopters going over me right now. They're probably coming to say, stop that conversation.
Wow. No,
Yeah, They're
That's
gonna pick
good.
you up, fly
My
down
feet
here,
are
pick me up, and then we'll go
my
have dinner at
feet
Jen's
are
house, and we're all going in.
my feet are vibrating from the impact of the waves of the air.
Oh my
Yeah.
I don't know
God.
if you can hear that behind me, but it's really loud here.
We hear the helicopters going toward Jacksonville Naval Air Station all the time throughout the day. So yeah, they are very loud when they're
Yeah.
flying over. But
Yeah. All I'm saying is, look, guys, put the pieces of the puzzle together. That's why, a lot of people said, hey, Mike's crazy. He talks about all this stuff. But all you have to do is try to fit it. You can't fit it. It does apply to a lot of the things. Have I been wrong? Most certainly. Some things I've been dead wrong on. I'd say my percentages have been pretty good. And I think that was a skill set of research for the amount of years that I tried to just put into it. Thank God that I had a liking to other things that opened me up to many other things and people and conversations because I feel like I'm really, really awake with the buzz. But I can't, none of us can do this alone. Trump's not going to be able to do it alone. We need all of us together everywhere to, say, hey, unifying is the answer. And we're going to have to do a lot of things to make changes. And that's one of the other scenarios. How much change will come through these safe cities that they're developing, these 15-minute locations where, everything's under one roof. They did an experiment in Alaska back in the 80s. They basically had a military base, and it was really hard to get to. So they decided we'll put a tunnel into it. They put a 2-mile tunnel to it, and then they went and got the town and said, we'll tear down all your houses, move into here, we'll renovate it for you. And that was part of the experiment of a 15-minute city. Churches inside, stores inside, police inside, apartments inside. Everything that you could imagine was inside. These were the early experiments. Everything that came into our life. The digital card, the debit card. How did that not? And now you have people leave out the narrative, say, well, your phone's tracking you. It's not just your phone, it's your car, it's your appliances, it's your television. Put a piece of black tape over the camera. I mean, my God, what do we have to do to have some type of privacy because we have no entitlement to it? Like the VP said, all I had to do was wave the wand of the pen in my hand and sign the paper, and I had them all. She talks about that right out loud to everybody about the power that she used and the influence that she put in place in California. But remember who her constituents were. It wasn't just Newsom or a predecessor to him. It was Pelosi for the most part, and everything going on in Washington and who she was nailing in front of. I mean, these are the people that helped her. Surely. And Sylvia Browne tried to tell America in her last book, A Psychic, Sylvia Browne, who called the pandemic and death that would come, and she hit it on the nose. Why? Well, Miss Harris was involved with him and another young lady. They were having a trio of fun times together, I'll just say. Maybe dinner, maybe whining, I don't know, but and you could speculate even much, much different than that. But the truth of the matter is, she's surrounded by herself. And I think Sylvia said, I come to this determination. It could be wrong. You don't put something that strong in a book that hits the nail directly so hard on the head that you split the book in two, unless you actually know the facts came to you. And I think she thought about it logically, had insider information through Montel, or observing and hearing in front of her, because they all hung out together. Every one of them hung out together, and you put it into a book. So if you keep digging, it's all there. It's all there. The Trilateral, the Bilderbergers, the United Nations, the New World Order, Hitler's book, 1943, the title of the writing of the New World Order, Prescott Bush funding the Germans against the Americas, and then you wind up having two of his ancestry people and his family becoming presidents. How could this not be all selection of election by placement? Marjorie Thatcher's name came up with Trump the other day. Pretty amazing. Start researching into why that may have happened. Because what I'm telling you right now is what Trump is hitting around to. Most people probably went over their head. But it's the Trilateral, it's the Bilderbergers, it's the ones who are all compromising our life, suppressing us, taking us to the bank every week, making foods unaffordable, diseasing animals on purpose so we have no wildlife, fish, and game, contaminating the purified waters. And now when you go to the store for purified waters, even, sometimes the bottles even say from a municipality. Isn't that pretty amazing? I'm buying purified water. It's the best I can buy. And what are they putting into it? I mean, come on, really. If I want anything, I want it from the deepest well that God gave us.
Well, you got to wonder about some of that. It's one of my favorite spring waters is Crystal Geyser. I mean, they've been around for a bazillion years. You can get it throughout the United States, but now you get it at the $1.25 store for $1.25 a gallon. And I started thinking about that the other day. Are those that think they're in control of everything, are they doing something with that? And that's why it's on sale for $1.25 every day? I mean, where are we, Michael?
Where are their hands? Where aren't their hands? I mean, look at when you look at you go to McDonald's, you go to Chick-fil-A, whatnot. There's more man-made chemicals in the processing of the food preparation than the naturalization of the food itself. Why do they need to put 40 or 50 man-made chemicals into something? It's all because they want to dumb us down. They want to get us sick. And they want us to go to long-term care facilities. And they want you to pay more to get there to your grave, not to make you healthy. We're just living in turmoil of what they've created. And the enormity of it is mind-boggling.
It is.
I don't know if we'll ever get a grasp on it all.
Well, if you can't get a grasp on it, I don't know if we ever will.
We're gone. No. That's crazy.
I don't know if we ever will because, both Jenn and I respect what you do and what others do, but the bottom line is that a lot of what we do down or what I do down in my level of the trench depends on what you guys are passing down to all of us. And
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
I hope you keep doing it. I mean, I know sometimes we argue back and forth on stupid little details in the course of a day, but
I try not to. I try not to talk to you. You won't quit. So it's like, oh my God.
It's because the way I always used Messenger was writing something that I had to say to someone right away, and then going back to work, and the next thing, writing it in there, knowing that they couldn't read it the moment that I read it. And unfortunately, it led to books because by the time somebody could free themselves up to sit and read, that's when you got it. So I mean, I apologize if that's what happens, but I do. Lately, I spent a bit of Go ahead, Mike.
If I tell you to play nice, I'm telling it because you're choosing your words poorly. I mean, have a little sensitivity. No, I couldn't be there. I
did. I didn't mean to come off mean, but it's like everybody knows me. I'm under the gun. I realize that it's 7:02 and I haven't set up the studio. I haven't sent the links out, and I'm saying to Donna, I wish people would stop messaging me so that I could just take my 15 minutes and set this up. It's why I say all the time, if the No Budget Broadcasting Company had the bucks, I would buy another set. I'd buy a couple of laptops and just have them sitting on the shelf. And at 4:00 in the afternoon, I'd set up the broadcast, and then I'd just, 5 minutes before, pull them off the shelf, plug them in, and we're all set and ready to go. But
yeah. Well, why don't we do this in this moment?
Yeah.
Turn the platform over to Jenn. I feel like I've actually overstepped my boundary. No, I in ways I do. Everybody deserves their. So Jenn, I'm gonna sit back and just collect thought, and hopefully you can guide us into something that is a little bit more, for all of us.
Oh, this was good. I was going to say, Dave's gone. Dave, that was so mean. You're gonna be, I didn't mean to be mean. I just
I
was.
turned my camera off so that people would pay attention to you. I didn't mean anything mean about
Okay, whatever.
No, why? Go ahead, Jen. It's your. As long as it would say it's your turn.
Thank you. No, I was listening to what Michael was saying, and dear God, I was reading that book by Michael Kahn about the rise of the gods. And you're right, that whole, well, the Olympics, what the heck? That was the weirdest thing in the world. It was so sacrilegious. But you're right. And I think this all, and then they're going back before that, the CERN issues. They're like trying to conjure this, or are they trying to make God come back? I mean, you could start with repenting, but I know that I know what you're talking about. I think it started, it's the first time I noticed it was when Sisi in Egypt did the rise, or I don't know what he was doing. Was it the rise of the pharaohs or something of the pharaohs? And they were parading the sepulchers of the pharaohs and their the mummies. They were in their covering, their whatever, their coffins, but they're parading these things down the streets of Egypt, and it was during Passover. And I was like, what the heck are they doing? They're like trying to piss God off or something. It was scary, but it's happening all the time. It's so frustrating. But they were trying to do it again, and they had the horse, the rider that was supposed to be, was that like mocking Jesus at the beginning of the Olympics? And I thought, oh my gosh. I'm like, you're not going to make him mad and make him come down here and defend himself. He actually loves them and died for them. But, you can't make God end time right now. We're close to the end, but I don't think, oh my God, I can't stand what's going on. But it's getting so obvious. And oh gosh, the last nail in the coffin, for mankind is when they go after the future, not just abortions, but going after the children, any ages, because that is the future. Without them, we don't have one. And you know who's been saying that was Elon Musk. He started saying that 2 years ago, saying there are not enough people. There are not enough people in this world. And the elites are saying, oh, we're overpopulated. No, we're not. China might be, there might be areas that are, but we need more people in America. So I'm really curious to see what happens with Trump and Elon Musk. Aren't they having not like a debate, like they're not arguing.
What are they doing? Differences.
He's not donating the $45 million a month that everybody seemed to be saying. He's not upset that the report went out. He's just been very clear that even though he is a Trump supporter, he's not donating $45 million a month to the Republican National Committee. But, it wouldn't take very when you got 200 and some odd $billion at $45 million a month, you drain your fortune out pretty fast.
Just once or twice would be nice, but
it is a false.
Okay, aren't they going to have
a false report?
They're having a meeting or something. I don't know. We're supposed to look forward to seeing this on prime time. Is it? I don't know. Probably Fox News. I can't imagine CNN covering such a thing, but
I think the two of them should actually do it on Truth Social and X.
Oh wow!
And if you want to watch it, you got to be a Truth Social member or an X member.
Wow!
Because he owns X and he owns Truth Social, and that's where you should be. Michael said something earlier about there could be big changes coming, and I took that to be there could be big changes to social media afterwards. And realistically, I want to see that there be big changes to where we're sitting right now after the election, regardless of who wins. There's just changes that need to be made. But I'll shut up about those. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah. What kind of changes do you think they're going to make to social media? They want to get rid of that First Amendment, They do not
They
like
want to
onions.
get rid of that. They want to get rid of things. There's just a whole big rule book, and the FCC controls part of it. The Federal Trade Commission controls part of it. Zuckerberg thinks he owns all of it and controls all of it. So, I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I said to someone today, what I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see Facebook return to how it was from 2009 when I joined, in 2015 when they seemed to decide that they were going to eradicate Facebook of every conservative patriot they could. Have they? I don't know. Will they? I don't know. I don't really know. What do you think, Mr. Michael?
Well, I know we have caps on what you're allowed to give, and I think part of their meeting might be analyzing the situation of safety on how Elon Musk can help contribute to him to keep him strong. So I think let's keep smart with it that way. That could be what I think the possibilities are. Because remember when Zuckerberg done like 500 million, and they said that was an ethics violation in the election, so forth. Same as when an announcement came from a self-appointed vice president of running for a president. I mean, we need a firm hand to start taking care of things, and Trump doesn't do anything that puts him in a limelight of wrong, and he knows he needs to keep himself protected the best that he can on his decisions and his analogies on how to go forward. But I also think we're going to be shut down in many ways on social media. We'll have attacks. They will come after us. They will boot us. They will ban us. Even me, I'm getting things that I never posted as violations. I quit posting just so they couldn't do it to test them. And if I shared somebody else's show, I immediately got a violation reminding me of a violation. Why are they reminding me that I had 5 violations prior to now, immediately following me sharing something that had to do with the political show content? I mean, so I think they are going to come after a lot of us. They're going to try to shut us down. If they do it, it's going to strengthen their side because people will see less of us. We'll have to jump around. Information won't be as strong. Liability of what we count on for people to listen to us, enjoy us, and help us research together are going to change. And these are the factors that they're going to go after that way. So I think that's going to be a very credible change that we will see. But I think what Trump will do is try to stay on the smart side of analyzing the situations to keep himself well protected within the law. Because the first day he comes into office, I'm sure they're already going to stockpile 50 different reasons and articles why he needs impeached again. So he's going to have to make sure his plate's clear so he can get in and stabilize America and start going after them. And that's one of the other things that I told all you guys on shows a long time ago. These people aren't going to just give up, walk away when they know that Trump's there to stay. They're going to run. They're going to hide. They're already doing it. They're retiring. They're, leaving their posts. They know what they're guilty of, but that doesn't mean they're going to get off scot-free. So I hope Trump has a lot of good adversaries in the military who will conduct themselves properly, and some of the private militia groups that he can put together that are already probably somewhere secretly waiting for, an order to start doing whatever's necessary. Because how do we cure this without not taking every one of them out of the scenario? And they deserve to be. The crimes on humanity they're appalling. I mean, what they've done. I mean, even the vice president, he was another one who was imprisoning people with COVID that didn't have COVID and into these areas, getting them infected and putting them on ventilators. And just like, I'm not going to get into all the names, but, how many other governors were doing it? Easily 5 of them. We've seen one of them get basically disbarred from his position and his brother removed from, being a journalist on some of the national networks. They were all there for a purpose. And when they're done with you, they're done with you. But nobody has done anything yet to them for it. And I think, Trump has to make a lot of very smart decisions. Some of them are going to be harsh. Some of them are going to be a war of fighting, and that's when they're going to reach in their pocket and probably try. If anything happens in America where they can put their finger on us, that's when they will then say that we started a world war in our own country between our own people. And we won't, but they will. And we'll have no other reason but to defend ourselves. That's why the mistress, the woke mistress, says in the first 100 days, I will come for your guns. I don't have a problem with that. This country will run the way I want it to run. So, again, we get back to staying strong, unifying, fighting the battle, asking how we can help Trump, getting out to the polls, working the polls, and teaching our children well, and also processing everything of the research to keep ourselves healthy, because they're trying to destroy us as not just a country, but as our humanity, us as people, of creation, because we all are it. We're fighting bugs, we're fighting disease, we're fighting bird flu again. I mean, it just never ends.
Nope.
And we need relief. We really do need relief, because everybody's minds have had enough.
That's good.
Jenn, let's pass it up to you, and what do you got to say?
I just get frustrated. And we said the word grandfathered earlier. We were talking about Soros and his son and them taking over more or whatever. And something was grandfathered. And I was thinking, what do you guys think? Aren't we grandfathered by the Constitution? Because I know, and I love this, I know this by heart because it's the same number. Article 4, Section 4. It's the one that says the government will protect us against invasion. Well, I love Jonathan Garcia, and that's where I got on the bandwagon of affidavit. You have a law, there's a law, something written, and if it's being violated, you can write an affidavit. Well, who's going to sue the government? I wish that a governor or senator, maybe they are. They did when he shut down the XL pipeline, because there were 12 states in Canada and the Gulf. They all had money tied up, futures tied up in that. And then Dingbat gets in office, and the very first thing he did was say, we're stopping that. We're not having fracking. And I'm like, you can't stop that. We had futures in there. Canada was mad at us. Mexico, they're always mad at us anyways. I don't know. But I'm like, isn't there anything grandfathered in the Constitution that we can lean on? Because that shirt that I made that says strong like a mother, on the back, it has our 3 inalienable rights on it. It's more or less, it was for a right to life thing. But then I saw the new buffoon Walls signed this bill that says that if the parents are not going to let their children get their gender affirmation, that the state will have to assume the children from the parents and get rid of their parental rights. And I made that shirt that says, strong like a mother, stand up, be a strong mother. And those are the 3 inalienable rights, and was more against abortion, like I said. But you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they're not allowed to take that from us. And we're like the one constitution that has that in there. Well, it's the Declaration of Independence. And I'm just shocked. I'm like, that should be grandfathered, shouldn't it? What do you say?
Michael, what do you say?
Well, okay. A little bit from the peanut gallery here. All right, first off, there are things of very great importance, and all the paperwork and documentations that represent us, but they all represent another analogy too, and it's how you look at it by who's looking at it, and that's why in some cases it gets flip-flopped and debatable, and that is true in many ways. I agree with why you do what you do and why people believe in what they believe in. And there are things numbered in statutes that make mention of these things. But everybody, no matter how they live, has the right to pursue that happiness. So if somebody wants to be transgender in the middle of the street and scream, "I'll take your child," "We're coming for
Right.
your children." You remember that little slogan? We're gay,
No,
whatever. We're coming for your children. Well, think about it.
we're
It's
queer. We're here. You're right. Hmm.
yeah. But that's because the Constitution right says that they have the right to do it. This is what makes some of the components so hard. I'm not saying that it's bad writing, and I'm not trying to manipulate anybody's thought pattern on it, but that's why you saw the president of the United States hold these parties on 4th of July and told you about pizza and hot dogs and peppermint patties. Said, well, we made sure hot dogs were reasonably priced for you this 4th of July. They were referring to everybody else in their community that they need votes from. The same when I told the world, this is a build a vote platform coming to America. These people and ways committed espionage by canceling out our border. And when Kamala says something like, "What did Trump do? What did Trump do?" He got nothing done at the border because you prevented the completion of the border. And then you let the border run wild. I mean, they don't refer. That's why I'm telling everybody, watch how she dictates through the media mockingbird. And what she says, you'll see the lies being groomed and the enormity of how they're going to, attack us. But I love my Constitution. I love what it stands for. And we are going to have to make certain different policies work for a lot of people that a lot of people say, "I don't agree with it. I'll never agree with it." I get it. But again, that's because we were conditioned to have all the same beliefs and thoughts. Where did the terminology "trust in God" come from? A 2-cent piece, I think, in 1826 was created. It was the first time that terminology was used. Trust in God, so these things, it's all been about condition. We've all been groomed in some way, somehow. We have experienced things that we probably all have overlooked. And when they implant thought, the suggestion of thought to us, sometimes we accept it without realizing it or recognize it. Or if you hear somebody saying something 3 or 4 times and you listen to it every time and a whole group full of people hear it, 3 or 4 people in the room will say, "I heard something different." That's how it works, It's like the monocle on Monopoly, where he has it at certain points of the years the game was put out, and then they removed it. They do things like this to test us, to see our awareness, and then how to attack us. And it's so immense, it's terrifying. It truly is. But again, back to the peanut gallery in my mind to collect the last thoughts on the constitutional rights and so forth. We were wronged in many ways. They want to change the constitutional papers and come up with their own analogy of what they want into the future. That is the scariest focus point of what you should worry about, because they will do it if we don't win this over the next 4 years. They will change the element of everything that we once had that was good and change it into everything that they want that is bad. 2 and 2 no longer equal 4. Remember that? And who was the poor little cartoon character that they just had to get rid of? One of the very first attacks that they made, I can't think of its name. It was a cat in a hat.
Pepe Le Pew. I think
No,
it
no,
was.
No,
not-
it's the cat in the hat. Yeah.
no, the cat in the hat was I can't think of it. Well, this is the same Dr. Seuss. The riddle master herself, the Wotress, is now experimenting back on you. That's all I'm going to say. Think about what I just laid out, understand it, and understand the way they're manipulating. And they do this in many ways. They've done it through experimental processes in schools and in insane asylums. They change people, they change bodies, they change looks. The humanity was a big experiment for these people to go into this futuristic plan of what they have, of the depopulation, and what is more meaningful for them, and why they want 500 million. Is that the correct term? Well, then they're actually saying, guess what? The Georgia Guidestones were right. Much of what was written was right. A lot of people disagree with it. but it's factual. And if we look into the Emerald Tablets and the Copperton Scrolls and all these other things that we have, we now know that Enki, one of the Anunnaki, was actually termed also as Yeshua, who was who? Jesus. So there's more confusion there. But did this man live? Was he somebody here as an entity? Yes. If you go over to the east and you want to actually narrate through it, you will find the evidence of a person that lived, but not by that name, because the letter J never existed. It was Joshua. And who was Joshua before it? His predecessor. So who was he? Was he from this earth? Was he from somewhere else? What was he? Who knows? But when we look into it, there's speculation all over there. And then you have the black books, and you have the book of God, and you have the book of Mary, and you have the book of Joseph, the book of John, the book of Luke, the book of Peter. I mean, if the information's everywhere with dictation to go everywhere else for the answer. Why does the Vatican hold 52 miles of everything that is most important in the world? Why did they go after the Library of Alexandria twice and take everything from them? Because it was how they wanted to keep control of the new world as they developed it, not the truth of the world as it should have been taught to us.
Wow.
Yep. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
Dave, did you have some viewers in tonight?
We had, let me go back and look. The last time I looked, it was...
I know you had me and Jenn. That's two.
Well, no, and I'm watching, so that's three.
And
we have 132 as of right now, which is
wow.
Little better than normal. Anytime normal is going over 100 live views, and hitting 132 is a good start. I think Michael and I did one last week that ended with 203 watching live, and I think that one hit 1,100 a few days ago and is still counting. As I tell people, if you can't watch us when we're on live, and you can't get me to change so that you can watch us live, watch the podcast. Watch the podcast when you see it.
That's what they're for.
And take it. And if you can't get it, because you can't, if there ever comes a time you can't get it on Facebook, let me know. I'll try to get it to you on Messenger, or go over to YouTube, because like I said, I'm waiting, because they're well past their last time for having to spank me for something that I did. And they just seem to be doing okay. And there's a big library there on YouTube. If you get to my Facebook profile, there's a big backlog of broadcasts over there. But we're here to make sure we try to get this information out to you. I got to beg some people to come on a lot. I got to bother Jenn all the time to come on. I got to bother Michael all the time to come on, wake up in the morning and figure out who I'm going to bother. Like this morning, before I even woke up, I had to decide if I was going to bother Jenn first or bother Michael first. So I think I bothered them both at the same time.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, and you also have, your in the background, your program format director, and you have the live. I mean, you got rock stars back there.
we got rock stars, because they, it's not always convenient when I want to do it, and they always work with me to find a time to do it. So we are going to make sure we get the message here. I can't always tell you who is going to be on, and don't always just read the promos or the marquees for a broadcast, because very, very often I won't put who's going to be on with me, because I don't actually know until 35 seconds before we turn the mics on. Tuesday and Thursday evening, the 7 p.m. broadcast. Anybody is welcome to come on. You do a broadcast on Facebook, even if it's not in the same league as me, I don't really care. You do a broadcast that isn't politics, come on, because I always tell people what we do on Boogie with Bull broadcast is politics plus whatever comes out of our mouths. And sometimes the whatever comes out of our mouths is more entertaining and more important than than the politics of the
You're
day.
right.
And Michael's one that taught us that. Michael, when I first met Michael 5.5 years ago, that's all it was. Is everything was a political broadcast. Then there were paranormal broadcasts came in. Then there were Bigfoot broadcasts that came in. Then there was, is Jenn going to slap Dave on that broadcast?
Well, again, the reason I did them is because I was finding rabbit holes of things deep within the military-industrial complexes, and some of them go very deep underground with their very different levels. You have the Frankenstein level at level 5. You have level 7, which is more nefarious. But what was going on was trickery between countries on early technologies and developments and so forth, because we were experiencing some phenomena, and they wanted to figure out how to do it. So, Russia was doing one way, they were doing another. They were tricking. We made it to the moon, did they? I don't know. Maybe they were just underwater. The point is this. I went down these areas because of people in the military who were sharing some things with me and so forth. And I had a lot of background knowledge in them, but didn't have an audience to talk to.
Yep.
I truly didn't. So I built that audience. Here's what's crazy. When you see America falling apart as it has, and we're limited to how far we can get out because of how they put a reserve on what we can do. They reserve and restrict us. But when I go on and I would do Bigfoot and so forth and keep it reasonably clean, or ufology or ancient scenario, ancient alien, typical things, scenarios, I was also getting 10 times the amount of views. People just didn't want to hear about the political scenario and the way that they wanted to hear about the opening of intelligent research being shared of the possibility into the unknowns of what they are. And it all does play a part. Not because I talked about the Olympics and with the Statue of Liberty and the French and the British and all that kind of, there's many more comparable scenarios that I could present that would just blow people away. Like, really? I mean, reallys would become like, really? And truthfully, it would come out that way. But, it saddens me in one way that we have such great attention and attention spans in the other areas, except within our own country and its strengths in the future for our children. And I'm not mad at them. I'm hoping with everything that I did, when we call on them for November 5th, that they're standing right with us, registering the vote, getting that all done in time, making sure that you check within your county, your state, that you're following all the proper ways of the system. Don't fill out a ballot if anybody puts a mark on it. Some of these things come from other people too. Hats off to those guys who found out some of this information. One of the more mind-blowing ones that I didn't share the other night that I wanted to was the fact that, they don't even, because you mark you're a citizen, don't mean they check it. They don't check it. They're taking people's words on it. Why? Because they have been conditioned to do it that way. It doesn't matter. It's all it takes. A supervisor to say that part doesn't matter. If it's on there, they're a citizen. We're going to let it go through as a qualifying vote. That is so wrong. But this is what they're being taught. And that should scare everybody, which means I was never wrong when I said they are building a voting platform of illegals, and that's going to give them another 10, 11, 12 million votes because everybody coming in.
Probably as high as 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 million. I don't even think, what's his face, Mayorkas at DHS, I don't even think I don't even think he's lying anymore when he says he doesn't know how many people are here. I just think
they lost all accountability of the numbers without a doubt. And the unknowns, I mean, it's just crazy. But if you give them enough money and you fund enough states and you give enough to Ukraine and tell them to send it back to this guy, to that guy for disbursements, because there's a bigger objective of what they need to do to get into the next election period as winners. That money really doesn't go to Ukraine It does, but it doesn't really go to Ukraine. It goes in pockets, then it goes to people, and then it goes to people's pockets, and then it goes for certain things like this.
Yep.
I mean, Chicago's not wealthy enough to give 2 million people $9,000 for every illegal in the city. You know, I mean, we have special rules. They don't need a license. They don't need a license plate. They don't need an inspection sticker. But I'll be damned if you go out and you get caught with that car, you'll get it towed away. Tows are up to $400 or $500 now.
Yep.
Nuts. But punish the people. Punish our citizens. But again, that's why they send these riddles out, and people know what to do from them. They learn through the educational system, going to colleges where good people put up money, hardworking money, you know, loans on their homes and put their kids through college. And some of them got caught in the trap of this dishonesty and mind manipulation. And that's why you see these people showing up doing the damage that they do and screaming at the parades and walking naked and with their, I don't want to get technical, but their stuff hanging out and so forth. Okay. Because they were put into format programs like this and basically saying, if you study with us, you go under us, you listen to us, we will guide you through the scenario of what we're doing. You know, it's going to be a battle. Tiring to say, because it is tiring to say that. But we have how many days left, Dave? Maybe 80 something now?
80 something. I don't know exactly, but it's upper 70s.
It's somewhere. I know. It's getting close. It's getting close, and it's dire. It's do or die. What do you think, Miss Jenn?
Wow, it's very overwhelming. I just had one question about something you said, and it was about the Frankenstein stuff and the different levels and the dark government, and I think it was level 7. Do you remember that German guy? I think he came back from North Korea, but he came back a vegetable. Do you Warm Bear? His name was Warm Bear, I think. Anyways, he was the son, and his parents came to pick him up at the airport, and he was like he was like boarded, and he couldn't walk. Do you think that they were doing tests on him like Frankenstein stuff, or was that just torture? I'm just wondering, what do you think that North Korea does?
I do believe that they are doing the same things that we are doing to people that go missing that we never see again. They become test subjects. Some do get out of it. Some do get away. And these are the children of Montauk and more. But Montauk's a location, home of the Philadelphia Project and whatnot, and time travel and so forth. And Einstein and Tesla and things of experimental making ship's cloak. I'm going to drop something on you, though. I'm going to share something with you guys that is highly credible. And I came across it by accident from a very good man. I'm not going to give his name, but he had an NDA, a no disclosure. He was over the no disclosure, just to tell you how far technically they really are. They were in the East. They had a bunch of ships out on the water, and they ran into some problems. You know, we were over there doing things. It was an unsafe zone. And they had to get away. And his superior said to him, because they were very close friends outside of the uniform as well as inside on deck, he says, "You have your NDA?" He says, "Yes." He says, "All right, now it's time for us to pull trickery on Russia." I believe that's what he told me, or the Soviet Union, however you want to. This man's not young by any means, but he shared something with me, highly top secret. He also worked for Westinghouse and the nuclear system. So he's well educated, very smart, book smart, as well as intelligent to all this. And they already had cloaking down. They were able to cloak themselves and turn their ship into something else holographically to confuse them. And by the time they realized that there was nothing there, they were gone. So we do things that are highly classified, that cannot be talked, that are for only certain people's ears only, and more. I'd like to do a show on this gentleman, but I would like to also get his permission, even if I don't use his name, because I don't want to create any scenarios for him, because he knew he was even followed and checked on for 15 years after the service. and while he was with Westinghouse, and even he had calls from his neighbor saying, why are there black SUVs or whatever these vehicles were, guys in suits? They knocked on our door. They asked about you. I mean, he went through all this. But now he said that he's over that period of time. And I sat with him at a housewarming party. And somebody told him about me. And he says, you want to hear a story? Kind of like, and we started to talk. And he threw this at me. And I'm like, where's my phone? I want to get this live, you know, because to get stories like this, credible, high story. And you can see this man, if you met, we're sitting in front of him. I mean, he's the grandfather everybody would want to have. Just the most pleasant human being that you'd want to meet. His voice didn't shake. His voice was clear. His words were clearer. His story was even clearer than that. And he didn't forget a moment of it. And I felt so much respect from him because he knew what I did. He knows that I do exposing, America Disclosing. It's an exposure. And for him to do that for me, I mean, I'll be forever grateful to him to be able to tell people that I have confirmation of the ship. I have confirmation of a very highly important name, the place of the incident. I have everything. I really do. And people look for that. I don't look for it for the props of why I do what I do. And probably I will wait to do this when I know that his safety is no longer necessary in any way, shape, or form. Not to say that I wish anything, but if he's here for 3, 4, 5 more years, the show won't happen. If he's not here for, you know, the show will probably go on and happen at that point. I'll even try, because I know that I can reach out and maybe get him on some type of live camera where I can do a full production, Carrie Cassidy, Project Camelot, right out to the public on many of the topics that we want to know about in these classified things. But look, we had people taking children from schools. They were this is something that the Russians did. The Germans started out by trying to manipulate an ape with a woman. The Russians were very smart. In a way, different, but very smart, because there was no success there that they're admitting to, even though there's much success and what they've been able to bring back. They were taking children from 50, 60 years ago that were put into homes that the families couldn't have. And certain military people would go in, and not always military, but let's just say people of subject who who one can speculate, would get these kids with Down syndrome and take them through some of the most horrific body changes, physical body changes, to make them look like aliens, to use them and train them, manipulate their minds, change their total function of their body structure, to make them look like entities, to confuse the United States of America. These things are not the only things that have been done between many of the powers of the world that had the money for researches like this and the scientists that they could put in place to handle it. It happens when we see things like the Rake and these other monsters that they sometimes let out from the lower level. Then the paramilitary, which is something that the paramilitary would then get involved and have to track, trace, sometimes kill them if something went wrong, but just went out to observe them, videotape them, and more. I can confirm to you that this is how some of the creations of what we see is happening. I'm not saying that there aren't possibilities of portals, that maybe Bigfoot or Dogman has an ability to get through. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying, some of these physical components are done by man's hand in some of these projects. And some of the lives that the people, the ones who survived out of these chairs, what they went through, and their memories being wiped. And don't think for a minute that your memory can't be wiped. And I'm going to give you why that is factually true, and I've witnessed it. And I'm ashamed to say in a way that I did, but so did you in your own life. So did Jenn, you did, Dave, you did. And here's where it is. Understanding the mind, what its makeup is, how it works, how the electricity is activated for thought processing. It's the same when you wake up and you can't remember your dream, but you know you were dreaming your ass off. And that's how they tamper into the mind. They can put thoughts of suggestion into your mind, put you into a place. You'll think you were on the moon. You were never there. You'll think you were. And then when you wake up, it's gone. Well, you can go through regression, and sometimes they can break. A good regressionist like Dolores Canyon was probably one of the most significant ones that I would say had credible research into this, was able to break through on many people and to help them understand the reality versus the manipulation of the military and things. But this has been projects with our own military people, children being taken out of school. JFK Jr. himself, not John, JFK Jr. himself was actually put through that same project, and then had handlers and groomers that guided him. Stolen Identity, get the book. You're not looking at the right guy when you look at John. He was just a stand-in. There are people out there who are still with us that have a big story to tell. This is part of that scenario, and he was rescued from there. I have a friend by the name of Mr. Fowler. He was rescued from there. I did a show with him. And what happens to these people after they go through mind wiping and so forth also is that their scenario of physicality of their mindset does change. You piss them off, you might be wishing for your worst nightmare to occur because of the things they were forced to do. Perform sexual acts on each other in front of a room full of other children. All take turns on each other. Everybody had to do it. This was forced compliances that they had in place, and it's much more graphic than that. So these are the levels, and there's many levels of things that have gone on. I know it's sci-fi. It sounds like there's no way something like this could be a truth of reality. My own brother once said to me, Michael, and we weren't talking about this, it was in the early process of when the collapse of the disease hit us, the false disease. And he said, do you really think that these people would our own government would do it to us? And I said, you'll soon find out that they will. And we kind of had a little bit exchange of words where I was in his house staying too. And I said to him, Joe, I apologize to you, man. I just feel this strongly. I know what our grandfather did. I know where he was at. I know what his position was. I'm just trying to do what he couldn't because he's no longer here. You can love me as your brother and watch me, or hate me and not. And he doesn't. But he does now in ways I see him support some of the scenarios because there has been a great awakening. And there's been many others. But we can never get control of the big picture. And the further they get ahead, due to the things that we can't control, it will worsen in the next 10 years to the 2030. Well, now it's not 10 years no more. It's 6 years ahead, and we're totally doomed. We're totally doomed. And when you think you saw everything come out of the nightmares and from under the bed, what they have prepared for us in ways is going to be beyond anything people will be able to comprehend. And it won't be a fake alien invasion. That was a real invasion. That was at our borders. It was just misconstrued, and my analogy. I hope I didn't take you off track too much. I try to keep things interesting, of fact and truth. And, I do stop before I finish sentences sometimes because I feel it's a better place to be. No, you know what? Safety is my main priority. I've talked to Jenn about this. I do not talk about who I am, what I did, and who my family was. And if you subject me to that, I can't terrorize you. I choose not to utilize that. I have been attacked. You guys may know of one of them. And I don't have to answer to anybody if it protects something that is of that importance. But still, I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to help him. I don't want to argue. I really don't want to argue with anybody. I want normalcy.
Hey, Jane O'Malley wanted to know if, I guess you were referring to a book, the book Stolen Identity, and she wants to know if you know the author's name, Michael.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy Jr.
Okay.
I have pictures with him.
Awesome.
I do. I truly do. I did a show on him. No. What I'm saying is I did a show on him with Sue Greenwald. Sue Greenwald has been helping him and was able to help him get through his DNA proof and things that were necessary because a lot of things come into question under any claim. all I can tell you is the story's more fascinating than you'll ever believe. The connections of people, the Queen, a ring, artifacts, things that he has in his possession. As a matter of fact, there's a picture on my profile where he's holding up a picture of his father with him. Behind him, where you can't see behind the hat, it says JFK Jr. and just capital letters, so to speak. But again, he's not the only one. Have there been stand-ins and step-ins for others? Yes. Do records tell us things? Yes, of course. Stairway to Heaven, play it backwards. The Beatles, right. Paul McCartney's dead. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And how many people's children are that their parents were part of the military complex? Most of them are dead.
I wish you would, but the problem is, the more I think about it, every time we get into these discussions, isn't that it isn't something that we should do. It's just, it would just blow it's blowing my mind thinking about it. So
we all get hacked. No.
It's got to, no, I don't care about getting hacked.
I know.
But it blows my mind to think about it. And if I'm sitting here with two of my favorite broadcasters thinking about, what Michael is saying right now, I got to imagine that people like Jane O'Malley, who give up any sort of a life to watch when we're on, or Melinda Brown Fortney, who does, their minds have to be equally as blown as when they hear someone say, hey, it's not rumor, but this person is still actually among us. And unfortunately, I guess I was going to say it's unfortunate that I'm not at that level that I can get those people on and discuss and have those broadcasts. I hope someday we can, because not only will it blow my own mind, it will answer questions that we all wonder. And I want to throw this one in that no one has thrown in so far. There are pictures of Kamala and Jeffrey Epstein going back years ago, and no one at all is saying anything.
I haven't been able to confirm it. Sorry.
I know, but I wasn't going to ask you to, but there's people that are saying, hey, there's these old pictures of him and her, and if they're real, this is worse than the Trump than Donald Trump saying, yeah, I knew him years ago, and when I found out this bad stuff was going on, I kicked him out of my properties. He can't come to my golf clubs. I don't play golf with him anymore. I wrote him off. I never saw him again.
Oh, maybe that's why you said. I don't know. It could have been either side of the war. But this is a psychological warfare that we're fighting. So you're going to see a lot of these types of presentations. And then they're going to defend themselves with, a defense narrative, or, the opposition is going to do the same, definitely. And, I can only tell you that there are a few that I've been able to confirm that I believe are still here, living a different life, everything taken from them. This man came from one of the richest families in the world, and they all wound up dead. I'm talking about the Kennedy family. Right. They're all dead. Jackie Onassis. Onassis? Are you kidding me? And there's nothing left. There's nothing left. But it goes way deeper, and it opens up something, and it opens up something else that I'm not going to get into, because I don't want to create something that may interfere with the upcoming election on people's wavelengths. Yeah. Because we only have one choice. We must go forward right now. Right.
Just on a side note, was Aristotle Onassis, who later married Jacqueline Kennedy, was Aristotle Onassis, were the Onassises wealthier than the Kennedys?
Well, Joseph Kennedy made like $80 million in a blink at one point in time. I think he took his wealth up to $100 million. I don't think that was anywhere near close to what the other family had, the Onassis family had. Okay. But again, where did it all go? Right. Where does anything go when shipwrecks happen? Government owns this. It doesn't matter what you find. If you find a gold coin in your backyard, it's property of the government of the United States, because now they own all the mineral rights throughout the world. They removed us from having mineral rights. They want to own the gas. They want to own the oil. They want to own the water resources. The Bush family went several years back, went down to Nicaragua or somewhere like that to one of the purest water resources in the world and bought all the land. Why? Why? I mean, they're oil barons and they're government scam artists. You saw what happened in the world. I mean, we could talk like this all over the place for hours. And you'd never cover every darn thing. You just won't do it.
Yeah. And here we are coming up on 2 hours, and that's like
Holy! Did I last that long?
Well, we all did, and we're coming up on. I'm not sending you yet. You can't leave yet, Michael, because we're at 195 people watching. That means we got to stick around until we break.
Five more people until
we break 200.
Well, let me just say this real quick.
Go ahead.
Politics is important. Our scenario is dire and more important. But the information, some of it that I'm speaking about, has a bigger interest to get them into the platform. I really do believe that. And it doesn't mean that you're not talking about it. But how else do you give everybody the research if you don't talk about it?
Wow.
You have to talk about it.
That's all I've ever tried to do. I never tried to make war or enemies amongst people. I tried to just share what parts of my life were, and where and what I did and things like that. And we have all experienced things. Come on. You probably had things come up that you've experienced in your life. Maybe don't have the same type of comparable or commonalities, but anytime there's commonalities, there's differences.
Right.
That's how Jenn, that's exactly how they set us up.
Yep.
Right.
Give them a reason to have diversity and divide.
Wow.
I'm still convinced one of these days that Jesse's going to contact me and he's going to say, for $50, I'll sell you the reel of what happens behind the screen.
Yeah.
When Jenn turns her camera and her mic off, you can see the real Jenn if you pay me $50.
No, I put it on mute and then I yell at them. I'm kidding. I'm like, be quiet.
I'm only kidding, Jenn.
I know. No, we're boring. But seriously, things like Michael's talking about does not happen to us. It's fascinating. That's why I love it. I'm fascinated by shapeshifters. So I got to hear more of his podcast talking about these things because I know we're going through this return of the gods. And I'm like, they are real. What are they trying to do? I mean, is Satan really like, I want this world to myself? I don't think he wants this. He he has the world for what? A while, and then he gets cast into the pit. So what's the point? But I don't know what the point is.
He doesn't want it for himself. He doesn't want it for himself. He wants it for the people that are following him, I think.
He doesn't care about the people. He wants to hurt any people because it's a slap in God's face. That's all he wants to do. Because we were made in his image. And that's the reason why he was, according to the good book, that's why he was cast down.
On that note, let's see. We can flip a coin, and Jenn, you can take a couple minutes to close it out. Michael, you can take a couple of minutes to close it out, and I'll take 30 seconds to close it out. So one of you guys decide who wants to go first.
I'll go first.
Michael?
Okay, you go.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
Jenn, thank you for having me and sharing the podcast with me, Dave. Same to you. It's been a fascinating 5 days. You're reaching 1,000 views per show, sometimes a little more, a little less, but I know this is going to give you a great start into what you want to do and how you want to go forth in the future. I'm happy that I've helped you. I really am. I mean that. I want to say to everybody out there, though, without your support, and we ask for nothing, no donations, no money. Sometimes Jenn sells things online, support her, sometimes we share food recipes. But it's all for the better interest for you, not for the greater good, not for the greater good of them, because the greater good of them is not where you want to be sitting within. Look at America. We were conditioned by paganism, Christmas, Halloween, Easter. All these things have paganistic, ritualistic symbolism that made it into books that were practiced and delivered to America, like Santa Claus and Satan. Think about it. I mean, there's hints everywhere. The symbols are everywhere. The colors are everywhere. It's not just Balenciaga, whatever they call the redskin shoe. I mean, it's bigger. I just want to say thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Dave, I hope you have a good outcome, and I'll keep in touch with you. I'll try to help as much as I can when I can. If anybody wants to listen to me on American Crisis, I got Barb Hartman coming on with me, and we're going to be narrating through a lot of things like this that we talked about tonight. We had to reschedule it, but it's coming up next week. We'll put a date together. I also have Mr. Fowler coming back on, and we're going to be deep into this project called Montauk. I also have some other very fascinating things of ufology and so forth on my program format called What's in the Skies. I hope you listen. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you share to all your friends. Without you, we're nothing. With all of us together, we are the winners. We will be victorious. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Have a great night.
Always a pleasure.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for watching, and hold on to those 3 unalienable rights, whether they're written in your Declaration of Independence, which it is if you're in the United States, but it's your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
All right, Jen. Yeah, awesome show. I'm glad you came, and we will do it again soon.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night. All right, let's see. Jenn Woodruff, the homeschooling mom. Make sure you pay attention to what she's doing. Go to her website, cookiecrumbs.com. COOKIECRUM, no BS, cookiecrumbs.com. And you'll see the t-shirt that she made. And take a look around. And like Michael said, sometimes it does cost a little bit. Sometimes you have to ask for some help. And, I try very, very little to ask for the help. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Fantastic broadcast, Jane O'Malley. Thank you for watching. Let's see, Suzanne Day, you came in just under the wire. And Melinda Brown, 40, always a pleasure to see you here. William Grant was at the top of the hour. Carlene Gonzalez and Robin Brunson were also at the top of the hour. We're done for the weekend. We come back on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern and Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with Tuesday Night Live. So if you want to be a part of either one of those two broadcasts, Monday, if you want to be part of the 10 a.m. Eastern, let me know by 9 a.m. Eastern. And if you want to be part of the Tuesday night 7 p.m. broadcast Eastern, let me know by 6 p.m. Eastern, and we'll get you worked in. Or just show up in the live chats and ask if you can come on. And 9 out of 10 times, there is a camera, and you can come on. This is the part of the broadcast where we end by saying you have been watching Boogie with the Bull Uncensored Thursday Night Live, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company, who was live tonight on the Dave Glovin profile over here on Facebook, the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, and we were live over on Wimkin, WIMKIN, Wimkin.com. If you go to the post over there, it looks really weird. We're still having trouble getting them to open the right way. If you click on the link on my profile over on Wimkin, it will take you, or redirect you is the fancy word, over to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, and you were able to use the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat if you were watching over there. More on that in the very near future. And Jane, Michael will usually either let me know or come on and say when his broadcasts are, or he'll post them on his Facebook profile, and I'll make sure we let you know. But we generally get him on usually either the same day or a few days before his broadcasts, so that he can plug what he is doing. I promise you that. Anyway, I've got to pull the plug. It's coming up on 9:30, and I'm actually tired, and I want to go to bed. And let's see. So I think we've covered just about everything we needed to cover. Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. I'm going to check one more time and see. Drum roll, please. We're going to roll down and look one more time. 202. So we broke 200, which means that we did very good. But that's probably because Michael Anthony and Jenn Woodruff were here with me tonight. So thank them and everybody who watched. Anyway, I'm Dave Glovin. You're not. Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast is going to come to an end. One more time, we'll hit it here. Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast.